Good morning. I'm Brianna Crosshall with Brighter Focus Coaching and Team Bright Shine. I just wanted to talk a little bit this morning about teaching classes long distance and how to set those up and how to get everything to the people that are involved. I have done a lot of long distance teaching. In my coaching practice, I travel around the United States and I meet lots of people in different cities and different states. And just getting pop-ups here. And so after I meet them and they tell me that they're interested in learning more about essential oils, then I am in contact with them long distance. So the first thing that I do when I have someone interested in learning more is I send them out a class kit. And an example of what I send is this. I have little baggies with a deep blue rub sample in here, and I include my card, and then usually 3 or 4 sample bottles of oil. And in the class kits, I really just use 5 to 7 drops of oil in a sample bottle. I'm often sending out several of these at a time, and that's really plenty. As you know, when you're using oils, you just need to use a little bit. So it's really plenty for somebody to get a good experience and to follow along in the class. So the oils that I generally send are, like I said, the deep blue rub sample, peppermint, On Guard, wild orange, and sometimes frankincense, sometimes not. Once in a while, I'll customize those kits if there's anything that I know that the person is wanting to use oils for specifically. I might include a specific oil for their need, but sometimes I'll just send out that generic class kit. So it has those samples and then our class sheet, and I always include the agreement in here, so that they have that when they're ready and so that I can show it and talk through it and they can have it in their hand. So I fold this in half, I stick it in my envelope. I really like these bubble mailers that are 6 by 9 inches because you can fold these sheets in half once and stick it in and not have it be too fat or too awkward. And then I'll usually write a little note and say, I'm super excited for this class with you. Text me when you get this, and I'll see you soon. Something like that. Just so we're in touch, and so that so that I can have feedback when they do receive the sample kit, the class kit. So that's how I get things out to people. Then I have facilitated or conducted the classes in a couple different ways. Often I'll do one-on-ones with those. So they'll get their class kit, or we may have already set a date. Often I'll just try to set a date right away with them. When are you available to talk more? And then I'll just make sure their class kit gets to them before our date. I usually plan an hour for those one-on-ones. They generally take about 30 minutes to go through the class material, but then there's just really great time then for intimate discussion on what kinds of issues they're dealing with and what things might help them. I always have my reference guide here with me as we're talking. I've got my oils right here so I can quickly just get ideas and help them figure out what might be best for them. And we'll usually do those one-on-ones over over FaceTime or over Zoom. Zoom's really great for those. So that's 2 ways that we'll meet virtually. I also have experimented with doing some Facebook Lives this way. So I'll if I have several people at one time who are wanting these long distance classes, then I'll just set a date and say, I'm going to be doing a Facebook Live for everybody at this time. It'll be a a class where you can just be at home in your pajamas and tune in and follow along. And on that Facebook Live invite, and also as I'm talking to people individually, I will say to RSVP, send me your address so that I can send you a class kit. I don't charge for the class kits. At this point, it hasn't seemed necessary. But that is something that you could think about doing if you need to cover your shipping or your sample charges. So you could play with that. So then for the Facebook Live class, I would do the same thing, send out those class kits, and then I create an event, which is, you could create an event like for a birthday party where everybody's showing up at the same place. But instead, I create that event, and within the event, I say, this class is going to happen here in the event page on Facebook Live. And then as we lead up to it, I'll post videos and kind of engage people in discussion. And then when the time comes, and I've set the class for a specific time and a specific date, then I get on Facebook Live in that event page, and I go through the class just the same kind of way. In that scenario, you're not seeing the person or people face to face because they just see you. But I've had really great engagement in terms of discussion in the comments. So that has worked really well. For the one-on-ones, it's pretty clear how the close happens because you're just having that dialogue. And so that goes very similarly to teaching in person. But on Facebook Live, the close is a little bit different because they're watching me, but I'm not necessarily getting to ask them questions and talk them through what's going to be best for them. So I'll do the close in a generic way where I get to the kits and say, let's talk about how we get these oils in our homes. And so I'll go through, the membership options. You could pay $35 to have your membership for the year and then purchase products at wholesale prices, or choose a kit, get a better deal. They're all bundled so that the prices are below wholesale cost, and they have these additional perks. And I'll talk through some kits. And then I will say, I'll also show the sheet, and I'll say, when you're ready to get that account, you just fill out the shaded areas on here, and we'll talk more about how you'll get that to me. And I'm looking forward to hearing, how you felt about this class, what you learned, what questions you have personally. So I'll be following up with each of you just to make sure you got what you needed. And so I'll say something like that, and then they'll know to expect me to be reaching out to them. When I have a Facebook Live class scheduled, then I block out later in that same day, the next day, usually over that next week, I'll block out lots of 30-minute times, and I just do that in my Google Calendar. And I make those times available to people and say, you will get a free 30-minute consultation with me also for having participated in this class. So during that, we can talk about your specific health goals and what you're hoping to do and how I can support you. And then people will, I'll get people into those slots, and then I'll have a kind of a one-on-one where I don't have to teach the class because they already got that piece, but I'll just do basically the 6 questions, the keys to close about, what are you working on? What are the things the health goals that you have? And we'll go through those and what all is recommended for them. And then I'll make my recommendations. We'll, talk about how serious they are and what kit might be a good option for them. Those questions are really the meat of that 30-minute follow-up. And that's usually when the enrollment happens in terms of the long distance classes. So that's 2 options: teaching a one-on-one long distance, doing a Facebook Live long distance. The third option, and the one that I don't have much experience with, but I would love to hear more thoughts on is teaching a hosted class that's long distance. And my experience with this has been with a builder who I have that's local to me, but who was going hours away to teach a class there. And they're very new, and they don't have a lot in their collection in terms of essential oils and diffusers and things like that. So I just set them up with a basket that had a family essentials kit in it, a diffuser, class handouts, a little, I think I send little packages of host incentive packages. So if someone wants to host a class, then they get that host incentive package right there. And it's just some little samples and a A to Z guide. So some real easy things to put together, but that's the bulk of it. The oils, the diffuser, the class sheets with the enrollment forms, and in a basket, and they just took that with them to teach that class. So our plan, it didn't work out like this, but our plan was that they would be there with the class participants, and that they would kind of facilitate in terms of passing oils around and things like that, but that I would be on video and over FaceTime or something, and I could teach the class in that way. It didn't end up working out because of the internet service in their area. It just wasn't good enough to do video. And so we didn't get to try it out. I think that would have worked okay. And our ideas for doing the close then was to give each person, 5 minutes to sit with me at the end. Because these new builders really, they've been to one class themselves, so they didn't have that confidence to do that yet. And so then they would just each get one-on-one time with me at the end of the class. So that's an idea for doing it, but I would love to hear more ideas of things that you've done. I think that's it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Have fun. Get creative. This is really just about getting oils out there, letting people have oil experiences, and then sharing with them how easy it is to get a membership and all the benefits that are there. And really, one of the biggest benefits to having a doTERRA membership is you having access to the person, that enrolled us, and having that support and just the focus on improving health and wellness. It's such a gift. So keep doing it. Bye. Oh my gosh, P.S. One important piece I forgot to talk about. How to do the enrollment. So I said that I include the enrollment agreement, and sometimes people will fill that out. There's sort of options here in terms of how to enroll someone long distance. The first is to have them fill out this sheet and take a picture of it on their cell phone, usually works just fine, and they text it to me, and then I will go in and do the enrollment like normal. That's one option. And I do that if they feel comfortable texting this information, which sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. Another way that you can do it if a person doesn't have an enrollment form is to just over email or text or whatever method you want, or even over the phone. Even over the phone, just asking them these questions. What name do you want on your account? What's your billing address? What's your shipping address? What's your credit card information? So you can get those pieces of information however you want to get them, whatever feels easiest to you and to them and is most comfortable for them. Once you have that information, then you put it in your back office to enroll a new customer. The other way that you can do it, and this works really well for some people, and I just usually leave it up to them, is to let them enroll themselves. That they can go in, and I'll just give them my website So you have your own, but mine is mydoterra.com/Brianna Hall. And I'll have them go in there and tell them, click on join and save, and then follow the prompts. And we've usually already had the conversation about whether they want to be a wholesale customer or a wellness advocate and what that means. But it's also all explained right there. So they could really have very little information and still go in and be able to understand all of those pieces when they're enrolling themselves. So for people who I know are comfortable, maybe I would compare it to like an Amazon Prime member, like someone who understands ordering things online. It's pretty simple. So that people do that often too. Okay, I think that's all for that. Thanks. Bye.